It's a podcast from Steamworld Giraffe. It's the Bennettarium. Oh, we got Brian, Chelsea, David on the podcast today. It's the Bennettarium. Oh boy, it's the Bennettarium, and we're gonna go to bed.
Good night, everyone, everywhere.
So hey, this is the podcast from the creators of Steamworld Giraffe.
Oh yeah,
A special nappy time episode.
I mean,
Wait, that sounded weird. Not nappy time.
oh, it's a nappy time, all right.
But nappy is also,
Not hearing him.
Nip nappy.
I meant what's another word?
Sleepy time.
Sleepy time. There we go.
There we go. Dozy time. Naughty off time. Warm pancakes in your bedtime. Sometimes I like to layer my blankets with warm pancakes.
A warm pancake as a blanket.
Right? How awesome would that be? It's
Well,
like it'll
but
cake
no
you.
syrup.
No, of course no syrup. I'm not a monster. Just a delicious, warm, hot
What about
cake.
powdered sugar?
Well, of course, just on top. Like I'll have a bowl by my bed, and I'll
Just dip
spring
your
it up,
fingers in?
and I'll just eat it. So by the middle of the night,
about-
I'll be really full and cold.
What about like some blueberries? Just throw them on
No,
top.
that gets sticky. You know, the powdered sugar will
Not
get
like
sticky.
not like a syrup, but like fresh blueberries.
No. Oh, fresh blueberries? Oh, like as a side? Yeah, I'm about it.
You know, if you ever see pictures of pancakes, they look way better than.
But not
anyone else
like,
ever
but
made.
not like a blueberry pancake because that
No,
makes the
yeah.
blueberries all gooey. But like if I had like a bowl of pancake,
I think you're underestimating how sticky the pancake itself would be, even without syrup.
you know what? I don't
Pancakes
think
aren't
it
sticky.
won't be sticky. I mean, it will be sticky
guess-
physically.
Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's
all right,
make
who's
it.
got a giant skillet?
Have you all seen those
Paul
blankets?
Bunyan does. No, the people who cook for Paul
Who
Bunyan
does? Paul Bunyan. All right, who's got the contact for Paul Bunyan?
What was giant flapjack?
Hey, Paul Bunyan. Wait, does Paul Bunyan have a song?
Wasn't that a Simpsons quote? There's a Simpsons quote in there somewhere with the giant flapjacks. Yeah, there totally is.
Flapjacks.
Maybe it
What a
was-
funny name.
Yeah.
Flapjacks. Have you guys seen the blankets that look like tortillas?
I have. I really want
Want
one of those. Those are pretty sweet. I am a sucker for a tortilla.
Well, this was a really nice episode.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for talking.
Let's see what we haven't filled in. So we're real tired. August is a real busy month for
Yeah,
Steamworld
it
Giraffe, which
Yeah.
that's what we are. We didn't introduce ourselves, did we? Well,
We are Steam Power Draft. I'm
let's see.
Steam.
We are.
I'm powered.
I'm giraffe.
Oh, Chelsea's giraffe.
I'm giraffe.
I kind of want to be the giraffe.
Chelsea's already giraffe.
I already called it.
And I'm already
Second
Steam.
chance.
You're powered.
Hi, I'm powered.
Powered.
I'm an adjective.
Yes.
Well, this is Steamworld Giraffe. This is the Bennettarium Steamworld Giraffe podcast.
Yeah.
We've got all the people here. Not really.
My name's David Michael Bennett, and I play the Spine in the band Steamworld Giraffe. Boy, that took a lot of energy out of me. That's the
I
end.
feel it.
Hey y'all, I'm Chelsea Penyak. I'm one of the Walter workers performing with Steamworld Giraffe.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Brian Barber, and I play Zero.
Yeah.
Steam Power Giraffe.
Use that
Our
voice
lights
sometimes.
are Bennettarium
All the time.
colors today.
Oh, we changed it up. I think this color choice comes on behalf of Camille Penyak, who's
Oh,
not
green
here
and
today.
purple? Is it the Joker color scheme?
It's
It's
kind
the
of
Bennettarium color scheme.
yeah. It's usually green and purple.
Hey, Joker just got an R rating list
I
yesterday.
know. I'm
Stoked.
semi-excited about that movie.
Me too.
Semi.
Yes,
Semi.
I think that's a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
Semi-excitement.
I'm excited, but like Joaquin Phoenix is one of those actors I'll watch in anything.
Yeah.
Like I'm just really excited to
Yeah,
see
he's
that.
a good actor for sure.
Well, I
I hope it's not like a Tom Hardy in Venom where like I like Tom Hardy but like everything about this movie is just terrible.
Oh yeah, I'm like super stoked to see it as just like a character study more than just like I don't even
Yeah,
care that
for
it's
sure.
Batman related. I just want to see him
Yeah,
perform in
Joaquin
that
Phoenix
role.
is good enough that you could listen to him talk to his phone for a whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you did. Yeah, but when the phone was Scarlett Johansson, which is also the only reason I like Scarlett Johansson, is because
She
of
has
that
a
movie.
phone?
she's like beautiful and everything like that, but I was always like, nah, Scarlett Johansson. And then I saw her, and then I was like, oh, she's amazing. She's amazing. Her voice acting was like
She's good
impeccable
in
on it.
that.
She's so good in it.
Yeah. I mean, for never seeing her.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when people can act so well without ever seeing them.
It's also why I love
pretty-
Lupita Nyong'o as well.
Oh yeah,
Because she was Mas Katana.
yes,
I was like, what? She's Mas? Like,
yeah.
her voice acting was so good, and I was like, I just love that
know.
about it. Like,
I
she aged herself
know.
very well. Like, she did it down.
She's got a
That's not
great
the only reason I
voice.
love Lupita Nyong'o. There's a lot of reasons, but
Isn't everyone in love with her?
yeah. Have you ever
I
seen
am.
anyone in a picture with Lupita Nyong'o? It's like
They're all like-
yeah. Oh my goodness, she's amazing.
Yeah.
We're real tired.
Oh yeah.
As
We
we
doing a
said,
lot. We doing a
August
lot.
is a busy month for
I
us.
don't
We
wanna,
should recap what we did.
I'm too
this
tired
month.
to recap because I don't know what is
I'll
for
start.
What you can't
patron
say,
only
what you
knowledge.
can't say.
I don't know if
Well-
my brain's working that
Well,
well.
I can start with at the beginning of this month, we had a live show right here in our hometown of San Diego. We were performing in La Jolla, California. Yep. It was a show.
It was a fun show. We did
yeah.
it was Rabbit's one woman show.
Yeah.
Which was my favorite bit ever. So like came up with some new music for that and like some cool stuff like
Oh, it's on. We recorded that show too. So
Yeah.
if you want to take a look at that,
Yeah,
you
available
have to pay money,
digitally.
but you can see it.
well yeah. But I thought that was I think the
That was-
concept of it was
really
very
fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun show.
And then we've been doing lots of, I would say Patreon stuff, but we always do that. I think it's that we're working on putting the final touches on our first two songs that we're releasing
Yeah, absolutely.
soon, and we will have release dates within the next few days, basically.
Oh.
Possibly before we leave for Dragon Con.
Yeah, I mean we'll have to play it by ear. I mean we might know them internally, but we
Yeah.
might wait until after to announce them. Or I mean I'm cool announcing them earlier, but
No,
it's
we'll
really
see.
up to we have
Everybody-
to see,
how's everybody
make sure,
feeling?
because right now we're still like putting the final touches on the files to be able to
Yeah.
submit. Because you have to wait a few weeks, and we don't want to. We want to release them in September if we can,
For sure.
and not October. So we got to do it
So,
now
yeah.
before we leave.
It's been a busy month.
Oh yeah. We had that chili cook-off in the middle of the month. That really took a lot out of me.
Really?
Number one,
I don't remember chili cook-off.
I had to harvest all the beans.
I remember being invited to this. Chili cook-off.
The chilies were very hot. And do you know if you have chilies on your hand and you touch your eyes, it burns?
Yeah, yeah.
I
That
I had
happened
to deal,
once.
I had to
One
deal with
time.
that. Really?
I don't know how stupid, but I was cutting
uh-huh.
peppers, and I just
Oh.
probably grazed my eyes a little bit. I don't know.
I never
I'm
I
like,
didn't
it's
have
one
to
of
learn
those
the
like,
hard way.
wait, what am I doing?
Yeah. Someone told me once, and I was like, no, I'll never do that.
And then basically my night was ruined.
Of course.
And I was like, these tacos
Oh
are
my
great.
God. I'm like 99% sure I've developed a skin allergy to pineapple.
oh,
'Cause
no.
A couple of weeks ago. Okay, so I was cooking dinner. I had a meal kit. I was making pineapple beef tacos, and I was making pineapple salsa.
Yeah.
And I literally, my hands were clean.
Yes.
my hands were clean, and I like stuck them in the bowl of the salsa to like mix it around.
Uh-huh.
And I literally just stuck my hands in a bunch of pineapple juice. And for about 24 hours after, it felt like I had dunked my hands in acid.
Oh,
And it was around my mouth too. My lips. It was
Because it is
awful.
like it is like something like super
It's awful.
crazy. Whatever the enzyme
And
is in it.
I know you can develop allergies later in life. It just happened like one day. I was like, oh my God, help me, I'm dying.
Not pineapple.
Not pineapple. Whatever.
Oh my God.
At least it wasn't. I don't know. I don't eat pineapple every day. At least it
That's
wasn't something
true.
worse.
I just love like when I
Anyway.
get good pineapple, I'm just like the happiest human being ever. Like pineapples and mangoes together, and then I squeeze like lime juice and then tahini, and then
Oh,
we
yeah.
get crazy.
Just be a cooking podcast.
And then my voice gets deep.
I was afraid it was the lime juice, but I tested that the other day by
Oh,
rubbing
yeah.
lime juice all over my hands.
Can you imagine like if
fine.
citrus like you just couldn't have citrus?
Yeah.
That would be terrible.
Oh,
Get you a pineapple the way
You'd have
that
scurvies.
Brian looks at a pineapple. Wait, get you a pineapple that looks at you the way Brian looks at a pineapple.
My God. You can smell a pineapple too. That's how you know. Have you ever seen a pineapple bush?
yes.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's
You can
just
graft them on, right?
just
Anything, really.
it just looks like a bush and then there's just a
Just
pineapple.
A giant pineapple on top.
It looks like a cartoon. Like someone drew it.
Oh, wait, you can't graft pineapples, that stuff. That's only like,
What? Like
like when you see a lemon tree. That's not really a.
What about it?
They have to be grafted on.
a
Oh.
lemon?
Lemon trees.
How so?
It's like a bush, like you know what I mean?
No, I have a lemon tree. That's just a tree.
Yeah.
Like you usually have to graft the fruit onto
How?
Wait.
something.
How do you do
really?
that?
Yeah, I don't think it's
Do you,
naturally.
like with duct tape?
But
Most of the
No,
bushes.
there's lemon
But, like-
trees.
Yeah, there are, but like most of them have been like grafted,
created.
Oh, yeah.
created. You know, so, I swear I'm not making
So
stuff up.
if yeah, you might be. I don't know.
But I don't know about
I
it.
mean,
But I don't know about
a lot of like fruits and vegetables have been like created, like genetically.
Well, I think
created.
it's more like how they're grown.
Yeah.
And I don't know why you would put them on a bush. That,
I'm just looking at pineapple plants.
It was like, boop.
It's so funny.
well, anyways, this is an information
So
podcast.
perfect.
You can all go Wikipedia grafting fruit.
We're all looking at this picture, and it's very hilarious. So you can't see it,
Yeah,
but it's
sorry.
hilarious.
It's a really
We're all
funny picture
laughing.
of a pineapple plant.
Let's get right to the meat of this.
Oh yeah,
we got
the
Patreon.
meat. You cut it right out. You can get all the meat of the pineapple real quick. You know, you just pull them out. The meat just comes right out. You can get right to the meat of it.
But
Yeah.
they're so deadly on the outside. It's almost like you're not supposed
Pineapples?
No, if you they're so it's so delicate. You take the thingy off, and then you can just pull it out apart. It's like perfect.
Can
Like
what?
is every fruit is just like perfectly made for like human
to.
hands.
Pineapple
to,
has
eat.
like barbs on it.
You know, I think I can still eat it. Like, it didn't upset my stomach. It was like a topical thing.
You gonna go through that danger? The pineapple's the juiciest fruit ever. You don't have to eat it very delicately.
I'm gonna have to try again just to know for sure.
I mean, even if,
Well, that's the thing. My mom has a topical allergy to mangoes. She can eat them, but
Oh,
she can't let them
no.
touch her skin.
What?
Yeah. That's
So you're gonna have to eat them like
I
you
think
ever see
so what
the-
you're saying is we're not all the same on the outside.
Did you ever see the SpongeBob episode where Squidward has never eaten a Krabby Patty?
Yes.
And then he tries a Krabby Patty for the first time, and it's like he's a close up on his mouth, and it gets like real small, and it's just like his teeth, like the smallest. That's you eating pineapples for me.
That's gonna be me.
I mean,
delicious.
even if you don't have an allergy to pineapples, you can only eat so much of a pineapple before your
Well,
mouth is burnt.
I mean, I kind of don't
From
eat
the
them
acid.
that
Well,
much anyway
you know
because
what?
the acidity burns my.
Just like
throat.
anything, it's a muscle. So the more that you,
you just eat pineapple every day.
my
Your
mouth's
mouth's all raw. That's like
calluses.
so.
better,
basi-
guys.
So for breakfast, you have a bowl of Captain Crunch with pineapple juice.
That sounds so gross.
Just cutting my mouth, getting juices in it.
Oh my god, Captain Crunch with pineapple. Let me just cut
I
my
am
mouth
talking about
open
crunch
and
berries only.
I
I'm talking
know.
all crunch berries. I'm talking about all
that's
All
like
the shards.
all
of
Brillo
that's
pads.
like what you have to eat in hell. Captain Crunch with pineapple.
Oh, I like Captain Crunch.
I never liked Captain Crunch. I didn't eat it as a kid. I was smart enough to be like, no, this cereal's terrible, and it cuts the roof of my mouth. I don't like it. But I didn't like a lot of cereals, though. I like certain. I'm a weirdo. I don't like
Grape
certain
nuts.
cereals. No.
I love grape nuts.
No, I'm not
Yeah.
90 years old.
Grape nuts are good.
Oh,
My dad loved grape
Well,
nut cereal.
Do you
Oh.
like
I
Honey
love
Bunch of
grape
Oats?
nuts.
Like now, yeah, for sure. I like it, but like as a kid, I was like, I'm not eating grape nuts.
Yeah.
Ugh. Get those away from me.
I know now I'm older. I like
I'm like, it's not too sugary.
Yeah, it's all oaty. I love the oats in it. But seriously, like legit, my mouth is like
I
oats,
know. Yeah.
hearty
Oh,
oats.
Do you ever have
it
just
tastes so
bunches?
good. Bunches.
Just bunches.
Just bunches.
bunches.
You know, like Honey Bunches of Oats, but
Like
we
if do you order it from Amazon?
no, they make a box that's like all bunches instead of
What?
yeah.
I
So
I
you
didn't
know,
you
Honey
were
Bunch of
serious.
Oats, the cereal. They make one that's literally they cut out all the stuff you don't want.
I did
and they
just see.
give a bunch
I
of
just
bunches.
saw a bag of Lucky Charms marshmallows.
Yes,
Is that,
they
is
make
that
those.
the same?
Oh my god.
Do they sell those at the same store?
So
Can you imagine bunches and Lucky Charms? Marshmallows?
we need some order to the
Order,
podcast.
order.
We need to get
Order!
these. We have some
Order!
questions.
I'll take a double. No onions, tomatoes. I'll fries extra crispy because they taste better.
You know, we tried the
Oh, they're gonna make them just
Impossible
for you?
Whopper.
They do it. If you ask for them extra crispy, they'll make extra crispy.
Wait, you
fries.
get they roll their eyes, right?
No, they don't. They don't. They'll correct what you're saying. They'll be like, it's called fried heavy or something like that. And I'd be like, oh. But every time I'm like, extra crispy, they're like, it's this.
All
I'm like,
right.
okay, yeah. But they'll do it for you. It's delicious. Because their fries suck. Come on, let's be honest. The fries suck. But
From where?
In and out. But if you
Yeah,
get it like
when did we start talking about In and Out?
just now when we
Right now.
when we had
Order. Double.
I'll have a double.
Oh, I had to
Unlimited
decipher
tomatoes.
I had to decipher your order and say, what restaurants are there? I'm way too
No
tired for that.
tomatoes. Yeah.
So, anyways, every
why
month
couldn't I have been allergic to tomatoes?
we
No,
take
actually, that'd be bad.
some questions from our
Oh, yeah.
Patreon patrons. This is from the band Steam Powered Draft.
I'm gonna make up a couple questions today.
And if you're a Patreon patron, you can do that, and it looks good.
Send us questions. All right. I'll start. It looks like we've got about 8 this month. So our first question comes from Kelsey. Would you ever consider putting on an event like Walter Robotics Expo again? Do you think that you could do it better and pull in more people now that you have a bigger fan base and are more knowledgeable, or would it not be worth it? Walter Robotics, you did that in 2013, right? So it's been a while.
I wasn't listening to the question.
Oh, it's okay.
I stupidly opened my email and started reading a business thing that I have to do after this.
Okay.
And I'm like, wait, I can't do that. I'm in the middle of a podcast.
Work never ends here.
Well, it's just,
Yeah.
I aim for that. Oh boy, I can't wait till it's all done, and
Sure.
this keeps coming. And I'm like, well, if I get it done,
You'll never get it
well, when I'm tired, I have less. I'm able less to manage everything
Yeah.
better. So let's hear that question.
so-
sorry,
once
everyone,
again-
you already heard it.
This question comes from Kelsey. Would you ever consider putting on an event like Walter Robotics Expo again now that it's, they're saying now that it's been a few years, we're bigger, have a bigger fan base, we're more knowledgeable. Do you think it would be worth it?
Yeah, it was a pretty big event. We had about, I want to say, like 600 people come to that.
Yeah.
That's pretty big considering.
For sure.
We might have had a little more. I don't know exactly how many came
Yeah.
off the top of my head, but
I was at that show.
Yeah.
Before I actually joined the band.
so that one wasn't really an exposition. That's why we didn't call it a convention or something.
Yeah.
It was just a really long show. So it started in the afternoon. We did some photo opportunities, and people were just kind of hanging around. We had stuff. We had the Electric Giraffe there. Professor Elemental opened for us, and then we had a magician, Dino Stats. Wait, is it Dino? Dino? I'll never know.
Oh my goodness, he's listening right now.
It's a Y, so Dino.
Dino.
Yeah.
For sure.
And so it did cost us a lot, but because so many people came, we were able to cover the flight for Professor Elemental to fly from England.
Great.
And pay him, and it was during Comic-Con, which was also pretty impressive that we got that many people,
Yeah,
because
for sure. It's
we've
difficult.
never had a show that around Comic-Con that's drawn that much in.
It's hard.
But I think it's because it was kind of marketed as such a bigger thing.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, even though everyone seemed to have a good time, I feel like it probably wasn't what people were expecting. You know, there was. Oh, we also had the League of Steam there, so we had like extra stuff. It was a bigger day of stuff, and then of course the concert of Steam Powered Draft,
Yeah.
and we recorded that concert. None of the other stuff because we didn't have enough film to do it. So if we would do it again, I think it would be something different. I don't think it would be as grand in that sense. I can't imagine that many people put it on ourselves.
Yeah.
Mostly because when we did that, we did it with some other promoters and stuff, so we had a little bit extra help. But nowadays it would be so much.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It would be so much. I think that we could do it. It would have to be our whole summer, and we weren't working on an album then, So it was a lot of work for internally.
Something special would have to come up, or somebody else would have to show up and
because right now, like we're on this releasing albums and batches and stuff, and so we can't just set stuff aside, focus on this one thing. We have to now. I feel like we have to do stuff within our means.
It is a cool concept though, like just to have that ability to be like, all right, now we're doing a whole day, whole day of shows or something.
But it's I think we're at the point where we can't. There's not many of those kind of types of events that we can do ourselves.
Sure.
And it's less like that we couldn't do it. We would just have to dedicate a whole summer to it,
Yeah,
even though it's just one day. Like it literally takes that much. You have to get so many people together and stuff,
sure.
and it's not, and that's hard enough with a regular show. So that's just from my point of view of but as far as Steam Powered Draft, sure, of course, I think it would be great to throw another one of those sometime in the future if we can feasibly figure out not an easy way to do it, but a way that's practical.
Yeah.
Because saying easy makes it sound like we're lazy, but that's something that's manageable, basically.
For sure.
Yeah. I
Cool.
just posted as a little Easter egg for Patreons on the Discord channel. I posted me and the giraffe from that show.
Dope.
I was dressed as River Song at that show
were you coming because you were becoming a merchant, helping with merchandise eventually, or was
that was the summer I met you. So I had spent all day at Comic-Con, and I just went with my friends. That
so
night
it was another show that you came to.
Yeah, that was a couple months later at the ship, but it was the same place, Sheraton. I think that was February 2014. I hung around in the back and
wouldn't be doing that place again.
Yeah.
They upped their price when they saw how many people were coming.
Yeah,
and they were like, "How about this?" And we're like, "We can go rent a theater for this price."
Yeah,
this is a ballroom, and you literally they just give you a room, and we're like, "Nope."
Yeah, that was the February 2014 Sheraton show. I was there, like hanging around in the back, basically taking notes because I had just been hired and I was gonna like come on board, but no one knew who I was. And like I remember Mike actually like came up and like said hi to us like during the intermission, and I was like I didn't want to like say, oh, by the way, I'm joining the band, so I was just like hi, and he probably thought I was a fan, but I mean, not that I'm not a fan of what you do, but you know what I mean.
And also a deep cut. That was the show you came to was the last show that Mike and Matt were performing with us, because then we decided to do 2 or 3 robots.
But in that like 2-month span when I went to that show and came on board, like I started training and working with you guys and learning merchandise and everything, and then my actual first show after that was Calico, which was the first show without Mike and Matt. So.
Oh, nice. Little history tidbit.
Yeah, that was, we went from hemorrhaging money to being able to continue the act.
Yeah.
Because we had so many people in the act. It was like, this ain't working.
For sure.
I mean, even with the amount of people showing up, that's a lot. It's a lot. Unless you got a big audience. Or you got people who like working for free. Which
all right, sorry. I'm on triple duty. I'm like looking at all the chats and stuff.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, of course. All right, so that was Kelsey.
Most of these questions are going to be for...
All right, so our next question comes from Proto Jones. Follow up to Kelsey's question. If you were to do a Walter Robotics Expo type thing again, what other bands and acts would you want to have? Steampunk themed acts again, or would you try to branch out more?
I am totally for branching out. I think the one band that I think it just makes sense for us to perform with again, well, we've kind of done it. I think we would do The Cog is Dead because their humor is similar to ours, and I think our fans... And I think some of our fans already like them.
Some overlap.
But it's not necessarily because they're steampunk. I just feel like with all the steampunk artists we've kind of come across over the years, they match the most. But at the same time, Mr. B's really pretty good.
I love Mr. B too.
So I think it can work for anything. But
what about the Vaudevillians? They're up in they're up in LA. They're like
is that their group name?
Yeah. Is it Vaudevillians or is it like
I've never heard.
So
of
they do like they do. It's like it's almost like big bandy kind of swing stuff. Like so it's like horns and stuff like that. And they're just like they're like a fun. I'll show you some of the stuff later. But also I was looking at like it would be cool to do. We
performed with Lee Harvey and the Nails.
Oh, sweet.
And for a few events.
Yeah.
And
that'd be interesting.
They're always like, why do they keep hiring us for steampunk events? I'm like, I don't know. I guess they think it works, but they're pretty fun.
Yeah, whatever. As long as you get them work. What if you did all robot acts? So you had.
I was just like, what if we?
So what if you get Daft Punk?
You get Daft Punk. You get what's the comedian? Zed the comedian.
We're not going to shoot ourselves in the foot. That's our bit. But, what about? I know this is just hypothetical. Yeah. But like, what if you had to do routine and then steam power draft? Would you be dead? Would you die? Would you die immediately?
No, I wouldn't die. But how would I get the makeup on?
You don't have to wear a mask for the routine.
Either would have to wear the makeup for that.
Well, or Zero special guest.
Or you do
special
it in
guest
between.
Zero.
The routine opens, we have another act, and then you put makeup on in between. And you're like trying to get the sweat off.
Oh my god, that would be so. I would
just
be
like,
you put it on.
Faster, Brian, faster! We gotta go on stage. And you're like, Lion.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I could totally do it.
I mean,
here's the thing: it's like I have done steam power draft and then driven 2.5 hours and then done a routine show for sure. So I could totally do it
with 2 hours.
The other way around is a little trickier.
It is a little trickier.
Well, maybe
taking the makeup off is easier than getting the makeup on.
Maybe if the routine gets bigger, you can have us open for you.
Yeah.
And that'd work out better for you.
There we go. Either way, it's a good situation.
Is there
you just gotta get a makeup team.
What about just like a?
I know any of us in the band would love to share the same space as the routine or something.
Yeah.
Because that's like I don't care that it's
fun.
not steampunk or something. Like I know our fans would like
we'd have
I think
fun.
our fans would trust our music taste and that kind of stuff.
We'd have
regard,
fun for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Next question.
That's not any shocking news that David doesn't care that it's steampunk. I never make reference to Steam Power Draft as steampunk.
Yeah, it's a very niche,
Yeah.
group anyway.
Like if we're in there because of the aesthetics, of course it makes sense for sure.
Yeah.
But we like our advertising isn't like set up to like ride
it's
the
just
steampunk
it's just
wave.
that you happen to
There's-
have Steam in your name,
Yeah,
and that was like that's
that's
a big draw.
We-
right
like,
there.
we didn't
there's a
intend it.
genre.
I know.
There is a genre of music called steampunk, and when you listen to any of those songs or bands, that's not what we do.
Yeah. But before steampunk was a thing in like
Yeah.
popular culture, Steam Power Draft existed already. So
Yeah.
it's like it's just kind of
Oh, don't let any steampunk person hear that. They're
Whatever.
Like, it's been popular since the 80s. What are you talking about?
all right. No, I'm saying
I just know
I'm talking about in modern culture.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in it definitely wasn't popular. It might have been around, but it wasn't popular in modern
Yeah.
culture.
It's,
like
it definitely like not that we're the catalyst or something.
No,
but you know what
no,
I mean?
not
Like,
at
we
all.
just kind of like got swept up in that.
But the cool thing is now it's just transferring over to cyberpunk, and we also fit into that like
Yeah.
like a glove.
Well, I mean,
like a glove.
the best insult that's actually a positive is like, well, they're not really steampunk, is when steampunk people don't want us for their shows.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, for sure.
You're
like,
damn
yeah,
straight.
right. Yeah, see you later.
Like, yeah, we have the goggles, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah, for
like
sure.
I like all the acts. I mean, pretty much, I haven't come across one that hasn't been friendly and stuff to us. They're all like super creative and
Dude, I
and
love
fun.
dude like Victor and the Bully, like
Yeah.
even Frenchie and the Punk, who
French
like
and the Punk.
they don't
I
really
love
say they're
those cats,
steampunk,
though. Yeah,
but they totally do the steampunk.
But they're awesome.
stuff,
I love them.
I love
guys,
them. Yeah, they're so nice too. We see them a lot at other events.
Yeah, I mean, Voltaire also does a lot of steampunk events.
Yeah.
He kind of, and his stuff isn't like he's not talking about being a sky pirate or something. You know? Avenue Park obviously more steampunk, and they're good too. And who else?
Who was the other one we played with last year at the asylum besides Victor and the Bully?
Alice.
Alice's Night Circus?
Yeah.
No,
Was
nice.
that
yeah,
called?
They were there
Yeah.
this year too, but right?
Yeah,
And
they're going this
she
year.
was there the first year I went. She was
Okay.
playing. She was
Oh,
playing in the
okay.
castle when we were doing stuff. I checked them
Right.
out.
Yeah. I could
Ah,
just
okay.
keep listening off bands.
Yeah,
I know we're.
everyone's great.
Yeah, but that's definitely a big positive because that's not always how it goes. Not all bands are cool.
Yeah.
For sure. So that's nice.
Next question comes from Merck. Where did you guys get the Peter Walter VI mask? Is that the keyhole one?
Oh, the keyhole one. So
Did you make that?
we didn't make it. A fan. We asked a fan back in the day. We commissioned someone to do it because they were talented. And we're like, hey, can we get this made? You know. And then they did. They wanted to. They were like, oh yeah, sure, let's do that. But we only used it for one thing for the Walter Robotics Expo.
Yeah.
But we didn't really like how
Where,
the video.
where is it? You still have it?
Bunny probably has it.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't. It was one of those things where it was kind of like one and done. So
Yeah.
I don't think the specifications for it were like perfect enough for us to use it. It was one of those masks where like you can see the jaw moving if so we just were like, it doesn't really work for the character.
Yeah.
It would need to be longer or something. But we used it for one video that we didn't really use for the Walter Robotics Expo. We weren't happy with it, so we literally erased it from history.
Oh no.
People there probably saw it, but you
I
know,
remember it.
it was just very like.
It was you, right?
Yeah, but we
wearing
were
the
like, well, it's a
costume?
live show, so who cares?
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was kind of last minute because it just didn't come together. And,
That'd be interesting.
And then we kind of changed directions. We were like, we don't know if we want to make this character like such a prominent thing of the live
Yeah.
show. And you know, and I mean, since you've been in the band, we've been talking more recently. Like, there's just other ideas that we think would be better for.
Really?
Well,
Little
it's some
better.
pretty deep lore stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
I can say
I-
I saw that show live and I had no idea what it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
like, who is that?
It's one of those like, well, we knew the Walter Robotics Expo was like, well, people are coming because
Yeah.
even the name
Well,
is
that
like
was the
it doesn't really
perfect
say
show to
that
do it at.
like everyone that came was like a super fan of Steam
Yeah.
Power
Yeah,
Draft.
yeah, yeah.
Like some people knew it was a Steam Power Draft show, but it didn't say Steam Power Draft live in concert or anything. It was just like Walter Robotics Expo,
Yeah.
like featuring these acts. So you really had to be in the know to go to it, which meant all that that's why we kind of like geared it more towards that. But now that we're thinking about it, like, well, cool. I think there's a balance between being a niche group, niche.
Yeah.
Group, and then also wanting to have some exposure.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be too confusing for. And that's something I like keep reiterating like every
Well, that's
for years.
It's a fine
thing,
line.
yeah.
like because like it's cool to have the backstory and stuff, but we can't alienate people.
you have
Yeah,
to
for
like
sure.
performing at Downtown Disney is the perfect example of
Yeah.
like you have to be able to pull in a general audience.
So we changed some of
Yeah.
our sound files and stuff to make sure that it didn't rely on knowing the
But
band.
any show worth its salt should be able to
Yeah.
stand alone.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to watch
yeah.
I shouldn't have to watch the Animatrix to understand the Matrix Revolution. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
like I just want to watch a movie that I understand.
But yeah, I think mostly our act is geared towards that way. Sometimes it Echo Engine is a little more plot heavy that doesn't rely on anything, but it's just like
But the plot's there.
It's
The
a lot-
plot. The
it's a-
plot
yeah.
is for that show. It's
Yeah.
like everybody in that show knows what it
Yeah.
is, what they're getting
Yeah.
into.
and the
so.
10-year show, even though like none of the plot has anything to do with it's just that people are clapping for people coming on stage and they're like, I feel alienated a little bit. And we got a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But most people coming already knew.
If they weren't fans already.
So a 10-year
Yeah.
anniversary show is kind of a little more like, yeah, you should know what this is,
Yeah,
I
you should,
guess, if
yeah,
you're going
if
to.
you're going.
Yeah, what worked? Echo Engine worked because the plot didn't have anything to do with the lore and backstory.
No, it was
Like,
its own story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was literally like you could remove the robots, and
Yeah.
it wasn't like, oh, are we gonna get some new info? Like, nope, this is
No,
a stand. You
yeah.
could you could put any characters in this plot, and
Me,
the
me
robots
and
just
Camille,
happen to be tied up in
invited
it.
some friends who had never seen the show, didn't know anything about the act,
Yeah.
and became fans because of Echo Engine. Like it worked as a standalone.
That was the
Yeah.
first show Elizabeth saw. Was
Yeah.
Echo Engine.
But here's the thing: is and since we're on this, like, then the feedback that I've gotten from some other fans who've seen like not ones that have like seen our regular show and then saw that and like, oh,
Yeah.
Echo Engine is kind of interesting. It's a little different. I mean, that's the same show, just extra stuff
Yeah.
added onto it. They saw the Echo Engine first, and then they saw our other show, and they were like, I prefer the one without the plot better.
Yeah, of course.
They're
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
they're like, it's like, well, they didn't
Well,
say
moves
like the music, but
faster.
they're like the improv is just so like you don't know where it's gonna go,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and like
Yeah.
so I guess. And they weren't like familiar with it, so
Mhm.
so I always like new people when they come in because someone who's seen our act like we can do whatever now because
sure.
they're
For sure.
used to something and if we change it then they're
Yeah.
not going to be used to it.
But I
so.
feel like the Echo Engine was for people who had already seen
Yeah.
the show,
Yeah.
seen the act and seen the improv. Then it's like, okay, well now there's a little extra storyline. There's a
Yeah.
little extra to it,
Yeah.
I mean, the lights were super cool, and there's a lot of very cool things about it. So like,
it's
Oh,
it's
yeah.
those San Diego shows where I feel like we sometimes we do something a little different just because that we perform here a lot.
Yeah, for
and,
sure.
And we kind of see they got some new songs, but I've seen their show before.
yeah, you want to do something. You want to add a little something special to your shows.
We gotta like when we think about our next because we want to probably offer a live recording of a show every year.
Yeah.
Like next year it should be like our holiday show or something. Because
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be
You never
great.
recorded that, right?
no, we've never
That's
recorded it.
that's a great
The
idea.
only thing I can think of is like, do we want to do it in Bakersfield, and could we get the promoter of that and stuff on board with that and figure out how we could make that work, or is that space good enough to do it in? Because I hear Steve complaining a little bit about some of the sound and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So is it worth it to try and beef that up?
I think that there's something special about the place in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I think makes the Yulmus special.
I think we could make it work because even
Totally.
the last show we did, it was kind of wonky with the sound because
Uh-huh.
the theater was so wide.
Yeah.
And it sounded pretty good after mixing a little bit of it. So
The Bakersfield show is so fun and it's actually become almost like I have a fondness for it, almost a nostalgia for it because it's like the one consistent show that we do every year in the same venue.
Yeah.
It's like other shows and events come and go, but I've been doing the Bakersfield show since my first year with the band, and it's almost like comforting
cool,
now to
yeah.
like drive out there and do the Yule
it's
show.
a little. I mean,
it's
there's
nice.
it's once again, it's a normal Steam Powered Draft show.
Yeah.
But we
With
add a
some-
few extra.
Yeah, there's
Holiday
like a
stuff.
holiday song in there or something like that.
I wouldn't
so-
say we add in a few extra things. We change some things to make it holiday. Because adding makes it seem like if you see a normal show, it's not as good, or it's like you're missing something. Like, but no, it's like the improv is kind of geared around the holiday
Totally.
stuff.
Well, just like anywhere we go, the improv's geared towards that.
But with that said, I don't want anyone to think that we're recording this year's. I can't.
No.
We can't. We don't need to set the precedence that
Well,
we're recording 2 shows a year.
Yeah, we aim to do one a year.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to
even though I know
preserve the
fans
act.
would eat up whatever we throw out. I think.
But that's a good
yeah.
thing because then it's like next year
Yeah.
when you record the next show too. So it's like something.
Plus,
something
we
to
can
worry
plan
about,
it. We
you know?
can talk to the people who put that one on and say,
Yeah.
hey,
do
can
something cool with it. Yeah.
and see what that would entail with them and stuff, and what they would be okay with.
Sure.
Cool.
Because it's not a show we put on ourselves.
I like it.
Cool.
Anyways,
I don't even remember what the question was.
Peter Walter Six Mask.
this is the whole podcast, just answering the questions.
Next question is from Abby. Artistically speaking, where have you seen growth that may have been unexpected but you are happy about, and what would you like to improve on?
Growth?
Growth. Where do you have a growth?
That's not what...
where have you seen growth,
artistically
speaking, that may have been unexpected but you're happy about, and what would you like to improve on? That's a hard one to think about.
I guess we can just say, not with just the band, but
like,
because it's easier to take in your whole career of trying to perform or something, or even just work in general.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I guess with the band.
Yeah, I think there's a level of just a comfort on stage.
Yeah.
That like I've noticed recently that I've developed, and I do shows. I do a lot of shows. Like, you know, from like 19 to 27, I almost did a show every day of the week. You know, and I feel like I've had this level of like, doesn't matter what happens, like it doesn't matter who shows up, doesn't matter like what crazy things going on out there, like I'm totally comfortable. Like I still have like anxiety of like certain stuff, but it's like I'm just confident that whatever happens, it'll something good will happen and it'll be fine. You know, it's like I've just seen so many crazy things and so many weird things have happened, and like every time it comes out I'm like, guys, it's cool, you know. So there's just, I feel like that level of comfort is like, it's I don't think I ever thought I would get to a point like that, but I feel very like cool in my skin on stage.
Yeah, well, if you perform long enough, you're gonna have some really bad shows.
For sure.
Personally, and the more you do it, like you get less and less afraid to fall on your face.
Well, hey, a bad show is only a good story.
Yeah.
Like, and that's like half.
Unless it's recorded, and now you have to live with it.
It's a terrible story. It's a repeating story, but it's like, you know, like if you can think about that, like and that's like kind of life too. Every bad thing that happens to you is like a good story for later. So
as far as like,
that's not true. That's not every bad thing, but like,
but performance wise, like, cool. I hope that never happens again. But if it does,
for sure.
You know that it's not the end of the world.
I mean, there's just so many examples, but for band, I mean, obviously, with advent of YouTube and people's cell phones and stuff, like, you know, it's when sometimes people record something. That bad something happened on stage that was bad, like, you know, someone's super flat, like they just couldn't hear something, and like just for a split second, and then bam, that's on YouTube, and bam, it's on the hate blogs.
That's
and
all
bam,
it
it's
is.
just like cool, and it's just like, what about all the other shows we did? But that's just because, you know, more people take the effort to push stuff down than they do bring it up.
For sure.
That's just life.
That's the if you're an entertainer, like, no, I feel like nobody's really rooting for you. Everybody's waiting for you to mess up. It's like, oh, look at them. Oh, they were flat. You know, you could be on Broadway. You could be like on the highest level of performance, and you could be doing the longest running show ever, and it's because of you won the Tony for it, and one Sunday you were just so tired and you crack on a high note, and that one person went and saw it and was like, and then they'll spread the story everywhere, like, oh, they're a chump, like I saw,
you know, I thought they were good, but after this one, like, they're just,
oh, I guess they are terrible.
They must be pitch shifting their shows or something, and they forgot to turn it on for mine.
It's like, you've been watching this guy for 25 years, and then the one show he cracks and you're like, nope, that's it. Like,
well, I think as a performer, like, I when I watch someone, like, I watch them as a performer.
For sure.
So it's like, it's a little different.
Yeah,
you know?
It's a little critical.
Yeah.
And it's more like, but it's also understanding. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, like, I feel like I can see through
the nonsense.
Yeah, like, or, you know, you can have, like, even if they had like a bad show, like, you can still see what they had planned and all this. I mean, if you see multiple shows and they're all bad, that gets a little different.
Well, but you see talent where it is, and you see when it's not there too. And when people have been faking it, you can definitely see that kind of stuff.
Yeah, when you go on live.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, why do people still like this person? And then like you give it a year or two, and then it's like they become forgettable because they're a one-trick pony or something like that. But it's like, well,
their video was nice or something, and it was nicely produced, and you know, their song is catchy or something. It's all fabricated.
Next question.
Cool.
This question's from AJ.
Wait. I never answered it.
Sorry.
Basically.
What's yours?
What have you seen growth-wise?
Yeah, for sure. With what you piggyback on that thing, it's definitely
the confidence,
comfortable. Because when I look at it my first time on stage and stuff, not with Steamworld Giraffe, but anything, like freezing up just because it's that unknown that you're like, well, what if it doesn't go exactly as it was in rehearsal?
Right.
Yeah.
But now it's just like, boy, I can't wait for that to happen because it's like,
what's going to come out?
well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't always end like in such a brilliant thing. Like,
No.
I break a guitar string in the middle of a song. I'm like, well, we're in the beginning. We should just change the string because stuff like that is like, your heart sinks for a bit, but then you're like, well, it can only go up from here.
Yeah,
and that feeling of like having to recover is I feel more confident in that than I do ever.
And I think there's something very special about that.
Because I think most of us are, I don't know, we're geared towards trying to improve rather than stay consistent.
Yeah.
It's way easier to go from here to there than it is to like.
For sure.
I learned like a trick to help your anxiety about anything really. I forget where I saw it. It was online somewhere, but it was like a mantra you should tell yourself anytime that you're stressing out about something terrible that happened, like, oh my god, I choked on stage, everyone's gonna see, and like anything bad that happens, add to that at the end of that thought, tag on, and nobody died, and it instantly makes it better.
Unless somebody did.
Yeah.
Then you're just out of luck.
It's like the worst thing could happen. I can I fell twice in our Disney audition. They were filming it. They were recording it for their archives, and I fell twice in the background because the floor was slippery, and I was wearing heels for me and my baby. And I wasn't even dancing. It was when I was crossing in the back for my other cue. I slipped and fell on my face twice. And nobody died.
Yeah. and also, I vaguely remember that happening, but I don't remember it at all. You know, but I bet it's something that you remember very distinctly.
And I knew that Disney didn't care.
They didn't, and that was it's very freeing when you remember like they don't care.
Man, I got things that I said in third grade that I still go like, I can't believe that I said that. Like sometimes it'll be just like that thought. Like, you remember when you said that stupid thing? You're like, yes, I do. Like, I want to say that again. But it's like nobody remembers that. Nobody else remembers it but you. You know.
But as far as Steam Powered Giraffe stuff goes, in relation to that question, because obviously I've been with it since the beginning. I think all the other stuff is pretty obvious. Like, we get the chemistry with the people you work with. No. As you get older, some of the angst goes away from like because you've already experienced so much of being in a band. Like, there's not much new experiences to have. Like, what happens when someone leaves? What happens with this? Like, so you kind of feel it all out. There's nothing that anyone could throw at us unless someone dies. So, which is still.
Then it's the worst. You see this?
I'm just saying.
Right back to that point.
There's always something, but as far as like day to day goes, like everything. We've never missed a flight. We have lost luggage before, so there's tons of stuff to stress out about, but you can't sometimes. Yeah. But more on that, I think it's the whole thing of, and I don't think anyone else has to deal with this other than like maybe Bunny and I, but like not caring what other people think as a performer. And I hear this now that there's podcasts of people that are, have been on TV for a long time, like you're hearing the same stuff. And I'm like, it's been this way forever. It's not just now.
Just you.
And it is more heightened now because of the internet and stuff, but it's that whole, what happens when people are online are talking about you and saying stuff about you that isn't true. Like, how does that make you feel? And you're like, well, it hurts because it's like you can't defend yourself, and if you do, you just basically shine a magnifying glass on it. And that's like been Steam Powered Giraffe since we started. Yeah. So,
well, it's the blessing of like walking around every day and saying like, I don't really care what people think about me, because you never have to hear it, but then when you got to read it, it's like, I guess I care if you think that.
Yeah.
Well, like, I guess if it's that specific, I kind of care about it. But
I don't get any feelings inside when people say, I don't like Steam Powered Giraffe, I don't like this stuff. What a crappy band, they suck.
Whatever.
Like, I don't care about any of that. Like, it's all subjective, whatever. But when people say things that are incorrect, like about you, and you're like, but that's not me. I don't know who this is, but it isn't me.
Yeah, it's the personal stuff. Like, it's really hard to take your own advice with that stuff. Like, I have given that advice so many times. Like, don't listen to them. Don't read that post and take it to heart. They don't know you. And then I read one thing that says this. Chelsea is a terrible person. It's not about the band. It's not about my act. Like, the act, it's personal. It's personable. It's someone who doesn't know me saying that I'm a bad person, and all of a sudden, all my own advice goes out the window, and it's so easy to get depressed.
And you can stay off social media, but I think it's more that it's one of those things that it's there. You'll find it almost immediately. Yeah. I mean, especially not. I mean, you maybe not with people who aren't on social media as much, Brian or whatever, but there's something there for almost everyone in the band, past and present, and Bunny and I, for sure. Yeah. And it's one of those, well, like you were saying, like it doesn't even matter if you've because if you've taken the effort to even appear as good, like, so did they suddenly crack it and now they're seen like no, like it takes a little bit of effort to not be an a-hole online and stuff, but like after that it's like, well, we're just human, like, if we have an opinion that's different than yours, okay, but
I mean, it doesn't happen every day, it's not very often,
sure,
but it's that terrible feeling of like when you're accused of something that like you you're accused of being a bad person just by association to other things. It's like they weren't even saying that I did something wrong. They were just saying like, she's bad because she's associated with this thing. And I'm what? She likes this, and that makes her terrible.
That.
Yeah.
It's like, therefore she's bad.
And I was just like, I didn't even do anything. At least let me do something terrible to you before hating me.
Most of that stuff online is because, people they construct a small sentence or even a paragraph that is put in such a way that you can't say anything against it without looking like you've broken society. Like it doesn't allow for people to dispute it and say, well, think for yourselves. Like not it just, the world doesn't work that everyone's a villain. It's people just like that. I knew this guy was an a-hole. And there's a difference between like, oh, I don't like his sarcasm, I don't like this, but it's the same. You could look at any like saintly person, there's someone out there that can tear him down for something, some weird thing. But as far as like what the solution to that is for someone in our position or mine is I guess it's to present it, because it's like, it's one of those things that's just not talked about. Like, hey, there's a lot of people out here who are saying stuff about celebrities that just isn't true. And I'm not talking about like Me Too movement or something. I'm talking about like, just tearing people down as if they're not human or something.
Call out culture.
Totally.
But to keep your head down and do the work, because that's where it's going to show. Even if it takes, one thing will bring you down. I mean, maybe artificially, publicly or something. But like, you have to do so much more good than if you do one bad thing. And one bad thing, it could be made up, so it doesn't even matter. So that's the hard part about it, is it feels kind of like, cool, so even if we do everything correct, it only takes a few people to latch on to one thing, and then suddenly everything else just kind of falls, and you're like, but so you have to just keep going.
even the most ridiculous rumors are true to somebody.
Well, look at I think a good example is something like the gerbil thing with
Richard Gere.
And like he's more recently talked about it and stuff, and it's just kind of like, wow, that's a really sad story. It's like,
for sure,
what can he say about it? Like,
there's nothing he can say that will make anybody who believes it believe anything otherwise.
Yeah, because now, and it's like, it doesn't even matter if no one believes it. It's that
in my head.
You think, and it's so sad to think about, because it's like, well, he doesn't. Like, now you can't say his name without thinking about it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, if you have a lot of money, I guess maybe I don't know how he's doing financially, but I guess it wouldn't matter. Like, cool, then I'm tapping out. I'm not going. I'm out of here. I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
So I think that's where everyone's headed eventually, is just like, get famous enough so you don't have to be in the public eye. Right? I don't know. That's what it seems like the goal is for most people.
I guess so.
Or just get to a place where your image is untaintable.
Yeah, like Tom Hanks. Well, that's another thing though. It's like you just kind of. Well, I mean, I feel like Richard Gere kept his head down, but somehow someone snuck in there.
Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, it's never been about like the. Well, no, we gotta get into that. We gotta get into this.
Anyway,
we've got 4 more questions. Do we got time to run through them? All right. Our next question from AJ. Excluding songs you worked on personally, what's your favorite song by the band? In other words, which songs do you like that were made by another band member?
I've worked on all of them.
Yeah.
In some fashion.
You pretty much work on all of them together. But
mostly.
I think maybe they mean like written by someone else.
Yeah, for sure. Well, as far as like, if we're going to in semantics about it, then there's literally no song that I personally haven't touched.
Yeah.
So just because that's just how it has been. Like, even the stuff that Sam has worked on in his own time and sent me, like, I put it together. Yeah. So I couldn't answer that one.
All right, I'm gonna say my favorite band from song from David is Electricity. My favorite song from Bunny is On Top of the Universe. My favorite song from Sam, Please Explain. Oh, yeah. My favorite song from John, Out in the Rain. For sure, which is like a song he wrote beforehand, right?
He wrote it with, if you look at our album, it's actually credited to someone who's not in the band.
Really?
Oh yeah, because he wrote it with another project, I think. But
and then he wanted to use it, and he
asked
them, and then we're like, yeah, if you credit. So that was the thing, and we're like,
oh, wow.
you didn't write this one, John? Like,
Yeah.
at the time, so we're like, okay, yeah, if as long as they're fine and we credit them on the album.
Absolutely.
I mean, we obviously the arrangement of it and the harmonies and stuff we all developed together, and the instruments and stuff. But like, you know how it is when, you're just writing lyrics and just some chords.
Yeah. It's good though.
That's what it was.
It's simple. It's real simple.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, Brian's songs. What do I like? Lying Awake. Whoa. Shattered Stars.
Whoa. All the hits.
And the other ones we haven't. But
Lying Awake is so good. It's still like one of my favorites. It's so good.
Interesting chord progression, I think.
Oh, I love it. I remember the first time we ever played it at the Ren Fair.
Yeah.
Me and Camille were backstage just like zenning out, and I was like, this
90-degree
reminds me
weather.
of, yeah. We both were like, oh, it sounds like a Revolver track or something.
Oh,
I don't know. Like it has a very
yeah.
Beatles, like Rubber Soul, Revolver era feel to. I don't know. Just to us, the first time we heard it, we were like, oh man, so good.
So all those minor chords that
Yeah.
You know what I like?
Using.
Because I was thinking like, oh, okay, which one is John's songs are like? I'm like, well, I like them in like their hindsight, but like the difference between John's songs and like, well, I don't know how to say it without like
offending somebody.
Well, I'm not trying to. It's just like your songs. I feel like I understand the structure and I understand the lyrics, and I'm like, I appreciate all the choices you made, and while there are parts of those on the other songs, I want to write them again. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not in a nasty way, but in a like Juju Magic. I'm like,
you just done this
like,
little thing.
There's no substance to the lyrics. Like it needs more. It needs something to make me think that this is a song with meaning.
Yeah.
Like the chorus is like whatever, because you can have a simple chorus. But so I hate getting in the head about that, because it's the same feeling you get. Because I mean, who else goes through that experience? When you're watching a movie and it's not very good. I'm not saying that those songs aren't very good. But and you're rewriting it in your head like, I wish they did this, because then, and I hate that, because I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm not enjoying the movie.
Yeah, and nothing you can do about it.
because you don't enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
So I feel that way with songs like that, because a lot of those were kind of like untouchable.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a thing we worked. That it was kind of the opposite of how Steampowered Giraffe worked, but John's songs were untouchable.
Yeah.
Like, but not that we didn't. We obviously worked on them, but as it went on through the albums and stuff, it was definitely like, especially with Two-Cent Show, it was like, cool. So the input I get is whatever you don't notice on the next export and that's just not the way to do it. Like the way that we've, even with Sam and stuff, like we did sit down and talk about stuff, but that was at least butting heads of like. He was like, are you sure you don't want to add some more lyrics to Love Or Love? I'm like, it's an old song. I don't want to redo it. I already added a new verse. And he was like, yeah, but it's a lot of laws. And I'm like, yep. And I'm like, well, and so, there's a little bit of compromise there.
But that's what makes songs good, though. When you have that push and that pull,
So I feel like where we are now in the band, like we have because it's so important to us, and we saw the pitfalls. I feel like the stuff with Sam and stuff, like it eventually wasn't worth the fight.
Yeah.
Where John, we never got the fight, and Sam, we did. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For
and
sure.
that's not like saying it's bad. It's just like it's super obvious, like how people
different
work
dynamics,
different.
work dynamics.
And for me, that's why when I look at some of Sam's songs, I'm like, this isn't Steampowered Giraffe. I'm not saying that they're not good songs. It's just like, because I've added as much as I could to try and make the album
cohesive.
But it's not the same as what we're doing now. And maybe there was parts of that in the past with albums, but I think, and it doesn't matter, like whatever we come out with now could suck and no one would like it.
Yeah, sure.
But personally, it's so much more cohesive than anything in the past.
Sure, yeah.
Because we probably hit those magic moments in the past, but we never were able to recreate it until now, because we kind of understood this is how it has to be. Otherwise,
well, we were all looking in the same direction.
Yeah,
I feel like and that from the get go, it made things very easy.
Yeah, and and unfortunately with stuff like some of the other stuff, maybe the early stuff, we were a little more focused. But before John left, it was getting a little less unfocused with Two-Cent Show, which is still a great album because it has Honeybee. That song was finished well before that album was done. So I feel like blind luck basically on most of that stuff because all that kind of stuff was very difficult. Yeah. And we just kind of, I wouldn't say we didn't hit the nail on the head. It's just the cohesion was falling apart, but we kept whatever we could together, and then we had to restart with Sam. For sure. Mike was on that one, and then we took a break with him for after MK3, and now he's back. There's just so much there's so much learned stuff that we're throwing into all the stuff now.
Yeah.
So I don't know what question we were talking about.
Favorite songs by other band members.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Bunny song?
Bunny song? I mean, I don't want to say the new ones because it's so obvious, but
there's some good ones.
I think the new ones that people haven't heard. I think one of those is my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because I don't know, I get a real kick out of like, oh, that sounds like this from back in the day. Or, you know what I mean? Like not just our own stuff,
Well,
but like
she does have the ability to write like some of the catchiest melodies around.
It's really hard to pick favorites because I have so many and they change depending on the year and my mood.
New song syndrome is pretty much it's the easiest one. Like, oh, I like that new one.
I have to say the two that come to mind when I think of like favorite songs that from Bunny are I always go back to Suspender Man, and
That's
for
good.
newer songs, well, not new now, but off of Quintessential, I really like Ballad of Delilah Morio.
Oh,
That one's fun. It's a fun like upbeat Halloween song.
the rhythms in that one is
I really
fun.
like that one, and then, like the lyrics.
It didn't have a chorus, and that was a weird one because I feel like coming off of Vice Quadrant, it was like we just tried to keep to a schedule, but it was just it kept falling apart. Just we didn't have the cohesion that we have now. And then when Quintessential happened, it was a little more like, okay, we need to lock this down, but we still didn't quite get there. And then with that song, the chorus kept changing, and so Bunny just said, and I don't remember what the old choruses were, but then Bunny just like, kind of like, well, I need to step back from it, and like, if you want to come up with something, just show me, and then I whatever, I don't even know what the chorus is.
It's pretty fun and
but
catchy.
then, so I basically just made whatever chorus, and then she was like, yeah, that works, and I feel like maybe we would have
kind of you contributed to that one.
Sure, but you know, it's the same thing, kind of piggybacking on the thing I already was talking about, is where like I feel like it was a moment of like, well, we would have had that talk and we would have come together as a band to make that, but it kind of just was like it happened organically, but not in a very easy way. I don't know if that makes sense. So like we have the capabilities to do that, and like we made a song that literally was one thing. And now I don't know if it was better. I mean, I think we probably could have come up with a better chorus, but
I like it.
I like that.
But I think it's one of those, if someone's like super iffy about something, it's almost like, oh, do we work the song out or until, because you know when I look at something like that's already kind of out but not released, like Ollie and the Equinox Band, like the structure of it has been the same for like a year or more. So it's like there's no ifs about it. It's going to be like picking out the intricacies in the instruments and stuff, rather than what should be the chorus? What should be the melody? Should I go down here? Like, so I feel like, you know, that's why the band cohesion is so important.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's still a good song. It's one of my favorites. Still good.
I mean, I'm trying to talk shit about songs. It's,
No.
You know, it's just a different perspective from,
For sure.
you know,
When you're
having
working
your
on it.
hands in all
I'd
of
say
this.
I'm a big fan of Vice Quadrant. I have to say two of my favorites from you are On a Crescendo and Soliton.
Oh.
See, now,
But can I not say Soliton because I worked on that one?
well, also, On a Crescendo, I recorded it when I was sick.
Really?
Yeah, and we recorded it.
I don't remember that. Yeah.
I recorded it before like Mike and Matt were still touring with and stuff. This is how long Vice Quadrant has been like in the mix.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of older recordings, a few years or whatever, and I just never changed it. I'm probably because I was just so stressed with the rest 25 different songs. And, and there was a deadline. We didn't just like let it go. Like we had to like fit Steamworld Heist and that in there as well as all the shows. So that's why it's not as good as I would
Real
hope
quick
it to
too,
be.
I want to give a shout out to Steamworld Heist because I was thinking of my favorite Sam song, and he had a lot of good ones on Vice Quadrant. I liked Where I Left You, but also Vast Frontier off of Steamworld Heist is one of my favorites too.
I don't know if I've heard that
That
song.
one's really good.
I don't know if I've listened to Steamworld Heist,
it's
as
great.
the album.
I think in the game they used it for the song that plays after the final boss battle.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Vast Frontier. That's a really great one by Sam. Anyway, those are my picks just off the top of my head right now.
Cool.
Next question.
Yeah, sorry. I talk about nothing forever.
That's what a podcast is about, though.
This one's from Kindy. If you read the fan fiction, do you have a favorite story? And if so, what might it be?
Have we answered a question similar to this before?
Maybe.
I feel like we.
I don't know.
I don't read
Not
fan
that it
fiction.
matters, but you know what I mean. I feel like, wow, did we just?
I don't know. This one's from August.
You know what? I think maybe someone at a panel has asked. This
Oh,
before.
yeah.
Like recently. No.
Don't read fan fiction.
Well, for two things. We've come across some pretty, I guess it would be called slash.
I've seen some messed up stuff about myself and Camille,
and I don't know if that would be considered
I'm kind of biased.
And it's not like
I don't like fan fiction. I'll just say it.
No.
I think it's kind of
you
creepy.
have to go out and look for it, but we have come across some of the stuff, and we're like, and it's kind of funny to us for a second, but then you're like, but like these are
not to me.
No,
because like the characters end after a while, and then it's like then there's Mike and Steve, and you're like, okay, well they're real people.
Yeah, well that's why like I'm biased and
they're not characters on
I'm
stage.
not a fan. I'm not a fan of fan fiction about like the people in the band because they're like real people.
Yeah.
It's different if you're like writing fan fiction for a cartoon or movie characters or something, but it's like when you're writing really creepy stuff about Walter Worker Chelsea in quote unquote, like that's you're not writing about a character.
Well, let's just be honest.
Like it's me, and it's really disturbing.
I'm assuming most of the popular stuff of fan fiction is probably pretty racy stuff.
Yeah.
Like, but maybe that's not what they're referring to. Maybe there is. It's like, oh, an interesting story.
I don't know, but this is not making me want to read it.
No, don't.
Yeah, no.
But it's not just us. It's not like somehow we were.
No.
It's like anything.
I know.
So you can definitely find some pretty racy stuff for this band that's all age appropriate. Or it doesn't have to be that way. It could be completely. A safe for work or whatever, but it's that they're writing the emotions in such a way that's like, no,
but I'm gonna say
they're brother and sister. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna say in general, like I don't like reading things about myself in general, so I probably wouldn't like. And I feel like you guys are all pretty much the same way. It's like you're not especially not on the internet. You don't want to search for things on the internet about yourself because it never turns out good.
No,
never.
No.
And it might be good for like 2 seconds, and then it just go. It's a dark place. So it's like I would never. I would never look up.
You could just look at our email. And you'll see some bad
I
stuff.
don't want to know. I don't want to know that.
I have to look at the tags like on Tumblr and stuff for social media, so I do run across stuff sometimes, and like even the innocent stuff, I'm always like I turn into a Squidward. I'm like what? Like Chelsea turned and giggled, and I'm like I wouldn't do that. Like I don't see the appeal. Yeah. I don't see the appeal of reading it or writing it. But to each his own.
It's one of those if it's not hurting anyone, go right ahead.
Sure.
It's just besides it being very uncomfortable for us, that doesn't mean you should stop. Just don't give it to us.
I'm just not going to look it up.
Whatever floats your boat.
But also we want.
But don't write things about me dying, please. Please, for the love of God.
There's some weird stuff. But also, as far as the creative stuff, like it would do us no favors to read that stuff.
No.
Like we have our own ideas and stuff that, and we kind of know where we want to go and stuff. And it would be like if the writers of, any show.
I think they do. I think the writers of
looked at the fan stuff
of Netflix shows. Look at fan stuff. And
this is good. I'm gonna steal that.
Do you not think that Stranger Things does that? Or there's some shows I'm like, y'all just look at the internet and then like write things for the internet because that's all the internet talks about now. You're like, now this is the thing.
You're
like,
just watching it. You're like, this feels like fan fiction.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, so we wouldn't do that.
Anyway,
because God forbid someone would say, "Hey, this was my idea." I'm like, well, for one, we probably would come to the same conclusion for a lot of stuff, but also that's why we're never reading.
Not to be a Debbie Downer, but it's not good for my mental health to read it, so I don't. Okay, next question from Revis. What would you consider from your past a failure, and how do you think you've learned from it to benefit you in the present?
Ooh.
A failure.
Consider
from your past a failure.
I've had a lot of failures. I think, and I think that's coming from the theater background. Half your thing is rejection and failure. I've had really really bad auditions and really bad. Just times where I've been in a situation and I haven't handled it the way that I needed to handle it, but it's everything can be a learning experience, or it can be your life. It's like you could continue, like I could continue making those choices that put me in those situations, and I feel like that would bury me, and I would never want to do like the work that I do. But like growing and learning from your failures is life. And it's like we're all gonna come across failures, but like what you have to do is like just learn from it. You know, every bad audition was just an experience for me to go, okay, well, I need to work on this. Like, I need to work on getting my voice perfect, you know, otherwise I'm never going to make it, you know, so, I don't know.
Yeah. It's, I don't know, for me, just thinking about, like, bad experiences, you know, in the past I've, like, tried to branch out, and I stuck my hands in a couple different projects and things, trying to figure out what I wanted to do as, like, a career for, you know, for the future, and everything that didn't work out and I ended up hating just pushed me in the direction of something that suited me more. So I guess you can see it that way as far as, like, failed jobs go. Yeah. Like, I can think specifically, there was a point in time where I really wanted to get into the film industry, doing, like, set photography on movies and stuff. And I did a couple little projects here and there in LA and San Diego and realized it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And literally, like, I was on set doing set photography for a indie film when I, like, got hired by Steamworld Heist. So, you know, it's like when you realize, you know, one door closes, another one opens, that kind of thing. It's like, I try not to look to the past with a lot of regrets about, like, uncomfortable jobs I had and, you know, instances where I felt like way out of my league or whatever. But it always, you know, whatever, it always pushes you in a direction of something that you might be more suited to.
Yeah. All that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if there's anything I can add to any of that that you haven't already said, but I think that maybe anything unique position for me with any of that stuff is now, you know, I haven't been auditioning for anything for a while, and and now there's like 3 different parts of me that I have struggle trying to, you know, my personal life, time for myself, me in the band, how I look to the rest of the band, how I look to the public, how I, you know, to that, and then also the band itself, how that, so it's like, it's 3 different entities that I can't really wrap my head around because people aren't built for that. But you have to, because that's what you're doing for a job. So, you know, how does the band look? You can't really, it's like, are we advertising enough? Are we showing stuff? Probably not. But, you know, you it's something to keep in the center. And then also how you feel, how you present yourself to the rest of the band. Well, trying to get work done, but also, you know, trying to schedule stuff and all that. Like, that stuff is very, like, well, it's important for the people when something bad happens. But I feel like there's always you're pushing stuff to see how far it can go, not to get away with, but more like it's hard, like, whatever your focus is on a certain day, like, what's more important. And hopefully as I get older, it's less about stressing out about things immediately, and then, or later, I guess. It doesn't really matter when. And, like, is it better to present yourself as put together, or is it better to just be honest and, like, and that's the hard thing to balance, because when you're in the professional setting, you never want to let that show. But then when you're with the band, like, well, there has to be some give, because otherwise, you know, you're just walking around, you're putting on a show for every single part of your life. So that's a tough one, because it's like, well, I can learn the lessons that obviously, like, make me feel bad, like, everyone thought I was an asshole today or something. But then, but after the fact, it's more like, well, how much of that is that I've absorbed myself? How much of that is because someone reacted in a way that I didn't like or something? And it's more, how do you, like, how do you know when to turn it on and off? Because I think most people have that already, and I feel like I've kind of worked my way, just how I walk through life, is to basically just never have that off switch. But also, I never get the on switch of, like, I'm professional now. It's just kind of like a murkiness that I kind of put up.
all your situations are interconnected, you know, which I think makes things very difficult. Well, it amps everything up. So every, like, little slip up or every little mistake, it ripples down. You know, because it's like it's your business, then it's your life, then it's like your fan, then it's like, okay, it's like, shit. Okay, well, all right. How much, you know, like, how much more can it ripple down, or how much more can it affect? But that's why I'm saying, like, you know, it's like, if I just go in for an audition, something like that, it's one minor thing. I kind of move on with it. But when it's something that you invested in, like something like this, or, you know, any other projects that are very personal to you, I think those little failures are amplified 100 times more. So it's difficult.
And it's not. Yeah, it's not just me or something. I can, Bunny can relate to a little bit of that too.
for sure.
I mean, even just with performance stuff, there'll be stuff that like for years is always an issue, quote unquote, and everyone has to live with that.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this part in this song, like, can't get it for 11 years or something. Like, there's always little things like that any of us could probably have. And it's not like about beating yourself up, but if you are in that mindset, then you can totally do it forever. There's enough fuel for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Bunny or I are the best type. Like where we come from and stuff. We're just not built to do what we're doing. As far as business side of stuff and handling all that, it's just kind of like making the best of whatever situation.
For sure.
Because when you run something that you're not as personally invested in, a little easier.
Yeah. It's a lot of work. Helming your own project in business.
There was a time in my life when I was working for other people and stuff, and even though I always felt like I just want to do my own stuff, I want to do this and that, but and you kind of roll your eyes like they don't even, and then you're in that position and you're like, cool, so now I'm the only one doing it, and then you do it, but then then there's a whole other world you never even experienced, like now you're not working up from the bottom to help someone up top. Now you're working down here. And it's like, which is not about equality. It's more about like the mindset of it. So it doesn't matter how much work you do. Like I can work myself to death and there'll still be work left to do.
Sure, yeah.
Because there's no promotion. There's nothing. So it's kind of like, it's just a weird. Anyways, thanks for this therapy session.
Yeah. We got one more question before we leave. This question comes from Hope. What do y'all use to get your robot makeup off? I used coconut oil and looked like a sleep paralysis demon for a solid 15 minutes. I've never used that.
Just makeup wipes and water, I think so.
Yeah, I've heard people
wipes.
using, if you have nothing, you can use. I think you can use a type of vegetable oil to break down the makeup, but I think this day and age you can probably get. I think we've actually said that too because we've used, and it does break down some makeup, but then your face is oily.
Yeah,
but I don't know. The Maron isn't going to break it down.
Depends
as much.
on what type of makeup you're wearing. I'm wearing that heavy white cream, and I have to use Neutrogena makeup wipes before getting in the shower. Scrub most of it off, but then I have to get in the shower, wash my face with water and soap, then get out and usually I have to use another wipe to get the rest.
I don't think. I mean, if they're talking about like metallic makeup and with the alcohol solution, I just don't think the oil is going to do much for that. It might do stuff for maybe the water base and the cream, but I don't. If you're not using any of that stuff, then you should definitely baby wash. Easiest thing.
Baby wash.
It's gentle,
wash,
and whatever you do, don't ever scrub your face. Don't ever scrub your face. I mean, you can, but
well, you mean like with a rough, like a loofah or something.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, how much? If you're only putting on makeup once, sure, go ahead, scrub your face and then make it red for it. But like. If you're putting on when we were doing the zoo and stuff, if you have to wash your face every day. I mean, I wouldn't get it off of some I'm in the back, maybe in nooks and crannies of my neck or something. But I would clean it off. But there's no like John. We always tell the story like, and even he did for a while. When we did the first year of the zoo, like he was scrubbing and he just his sensitive part was his nose and he had it was rubbed so raw he had to wear like a bandage over
my god
and paint the bandage. But yeah, don't scrub. Use baby wash and makeup wipes are pretty
and your hands
too.
Like wash with your hands.
Yeah.
I mean, in a pinch, you can use a towel, but even that's too coarse. I mean, especially because for the metallic makeup, I don't think it matters, but I mean, it is like metal. it's not super gritty, but it's gritty enough that it's only going to add to it. So I'd say baby wash, any type of baby wash, because it's gentle and it's not. It'll dry your skin out a little bit, but.
Moisturize afterwards.
But baby wash too. Baby wash works.
Yeah.
They also make these rags that are like microfiber for taking makeup off.
Yeah.
And those work pretty well if you don't want to use
They're
your
nice
hands.
and soft. Anyway, nice. Lots of options.
Cool.
And that wraps up Patreon questions.
And now it's the end of the podcast.
All right.
We'll be in Atlanta, Georgia next weekend for Dragon Con.
Atlanta, Georgia.
And also, I guess pre-orders for the 2 Cent Show vinyl all have been shipped out, so it's no longer pre-order anymore. We still have a few. I mean, you can see there's not as many. Did we have boxes last Bennettarium?
Yes. Oh, not Bennettarium.
Well, if you've been following us on Patreon, you've seen like there's a lot of boxes. We have some vinyls left. We have some autographed and we have some regular ones. So if you didn't pre-order.
They're still available.
We ordered enough to cover the pre-orders, and then we still have extras.
Head over to our online store. Vinyls available now.
And then I guess we have new T-shirts as well in stock since
We do.
last month.
Yes.
Or maybe we did have them last month.
We have, so we've got the logo T-shirts in regular and feminine cut. We also have baseball T-shirts. Those are like 3/4 red sleeves. Those are pretty awesome, and we have those in both regular and feminine cut too. And we'll have those with us in Dragon Con.
Yeah, we're not going to take any vinyls to Dragon Con, I don't think.
No,
they're just too delicate.
They're
to
too
try
hard
and do
to
that.
fly with, so we will not be selling 2 Cent Show vinyls at Dragon Con.
But so order them online.
Order 'em online.
And I don't know, the shipping's not terrible. It's like for if you're in domestic United States.
It's not that bad.
I don't know, $6, $5. I don't know. 11. I don't know.
Go buy our crap.
25. Who knows? Something.
Yeah. So if we'll see you at Dragon Con, and then look forward to our new music videos and the single releases coming up. If you don't support us on Patreon already, feel free to go buy those when they come out, because it helps. You'll be able to listen to them on music streaming services. Of course, that's what we're doing this time. We're not waiting a year like we've usually done in the past. So this time we're hoping on the good nature of the people who want to support us. So please, buy the singles, even if you stream them for free and stuff, because we're giving them to you for free, basically, YouTube and stuff already. So that would definitely help. You can also buy them directly from us. Yep, if you want. And our Patreon as well. There's so many different tiers, a lot of things we offer, some interactive stuff at the higher ones. The video of this podcast you can watch if you like seeing us. Also, you can watch the live stream if you're Patreon, which a few people are right now as we record this. We also got acoustic rehearsal live streams that we do on Patreon, as well as studio work videos, which are sometimes almost weekly. So you'll see some stuff from our music video shoots when we're at concerts and all that. So if you can't get enough Steam Powered Giraffe, www.patreon.com/SteamPoweredGiraffe. And we'll probably make a YouTube video in the future. I was thinking about it.
About that?
Once we have these 2 songs out, we're going to have so much content that we can kind of tease on a video.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool to like have it here with that whole this whole thing in the colors, and then with the lights. If you're listening to the podcast, we have like colored lights behind us, and we kind of use this room for some of our live streams. So, and then like we had everyone here to just like, say a few words, and I'd edit it with samples of like, oh, here's the pins, here's some behind the scenes video. Because our one right now is the robots, and it's kind of like tongue in cheek. It doesn't really say what we get because it's more about the joke.
Yeah, but the joke was fun.
It's fun.
Yeah. we
But,
also
yeah.
had just started our Patreon,
And we
made
didn't
that.
know exactly what was going to be because we
Yeah.
based it off the Engineer Tier site. But now we've kind of grown the content there's a lot more than there ever was, even with the 6 years of Engineer Tier stuff. So anyways, check that out if you can. You can also just follow us publicly. You don't even have to support us on Patreon. And there's some public posts that go up every once in a while. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's.
Do we have to sing out?
Oh, yeah.
You almost forgot.
Let's go to bed.
Let's put him to sleep,
Nighty-night,
y'all.
everyone.
This has been the Bennettarium Midnight
Bunny.
Book Time Showing.
Bunny had some stuff to do, busy, but she wasn't here to prevent me from keep rambling on. So you all did a good job of letting me talk.
You're welcome. No, we started late, so it's not as bad as you think.
Oh yeah, you're right. We went a little longer than normal.
It's fine, though.
It's a podcast from Steam Powered Giraffe. It's the Bennettarium. Oh, we answered questions,
And then we did stuff at the Bennettarium. It was the sweet, sweet Bennettarium.
and we'll see you next month.
Yeah.
Good night.